depleted shell.
Okay, welcome back for part 2 of going around the cove. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go to part 1 and we'll see.
So today we're going to explore BB-59, also known as the USS Massachusetts, which is a floating gun platform that was ready for World War II wartime action. Come along with us and see what we can see. And here's my friend to tell you all about it.
A member of the South Dakota class, the USS Massachusetts is 680 feet long overall, has a beam of 108 feet 2 inches, and a draft of 35 feet 1 inch. She displaced 37,970 long tons as designed and up to 44,519 long tons at full combat load. The ship was powered by 4 General Electric steam turbines, each driving 1 propeller shaft, using steam provided by 8 well-fired Babcock and Wilcox boilers. Rated at 130,000 shaft horsepower, the turbines were intended to give a top speed of 27.5 knots. The ship had a cruising range of 15,000 nautical miles at a speed of 15 knots. Big Mamie, as it was nicknamed, carried 3 Vought OS-2U Kingfisher floatplanes for aerial reconnaissance, which were launched by a pair of aircraft catapults on her fantail. Her peacetime crew numbered 1,793 officers and enlisted men, but during the war the crew swelled to 2,500 officers and enlisted. The ship was armed with a main battery of 9 16-inch 45 caliber Mark VI guns and 3 triple-gun turrets on the centerline, 2 of which were placed in a super-firing pair forward, with the third aft. The secondary battery consisted of 25-inch 38 caliber dual-purpose guns mounted in twin turrets clustered amidships, totaling 5 turrets on either side. The USS Massachusetts was equipped with an anti-aircraft battery that included quadruple 40mm Bofors guns and 20mm Oerlikon autocannon instead of the standard .5 caliber guns. The main armored belt was 12.2 inches thick, while the main armored deck was up to 6 inches thick. The main battery gun turrets had 18-inch thick faces, and they were mounted atop barbettes that were 17.3 inches thick. The conning tower had 16-inch thick sides. Battleship Massachusetts was built in Quincy, Massachusetts at the Four River Shipyard of the Bethlehem Steel Corporation. The ship was launched on September 23, 1941, and holds the record as the heaviest ship ever launched in Quincy. Big Mamie, as her crew knew her, was delivered to the Boston Navy Yard in April 1942 and commissioned the following month. Following her shakedown period, Battleship Massachusetts went into action on November 8, 1942 as part of Operation Torch, the invasion of North Africa. While cruising off the city of Casablanca, Morocco, the battleship engaged in a gun duel with the unfinished French battleship Jean Bart that was moored at a Casablanca pier. In this battle, USS Massachusetts fired the first American 16-inch projectile in anger of World War II. 5 hits from Big Mamie silenced the enemy battleship. Other 16-inch shells from Battleship Massachusetts helped sink 2 destroyers, 2 merchant ships, a floating dry dock, and heavily damaged buildings and docks in Casablanca. The ship returned to Boston for refitting and resupply, and in February 1943 went through the Panama Canal to join the action in the Pacific, where she would remain for the remainder of her 3.5 years of active service. Assigned to the Southwest Pacific, the battleship saw action in the New Guinea Solomons area and participated in the invasion of the Gilbert Islands in November 1943, the invasion of the Marshall Islands in January 1944, the powerful carrier strikes against Truk in February 1944, and a series of raids against Japanese bases in the Western Pacific and Asia. Following a bombardment of Ponape Island in May 1944, Battleship Massachusetts returned to Bremerton, Washington for modernization and a well-deserved rest for her crew. In September 1944, the ship returned to action in the invasion of Palau Islands and acted as an escort for the fast carrier task forces, using her 5-inch 40mm and 20mm guns to defend the carriers against enemy aircraft. Big Mamie's 16-inch guns pounded Iwo Jima and Okinawa before those islands were invaded in 1945, and by July of that year she was off Japan with the Third Fleet. The battleship bombarded the Imperial Iron and Steel Works at Kamaishi and then sailed south to bombard a factory at Hamamatsu. Returning to Kamaishi, Battleship Massachusetts fired the last 16-inch projectile of the war. With peace achieved, Big Mamie returned to the United States and operated with the Pacific Fleet until mid-1946 when she was ordered deactivated. The battleship remained in the Reserve Fleet in Norfolk, Virginia until she was stricken in 1962 from the Navy Register and ordered sold for scrap. However, her wartime crew had held annual reunions since 1945 and lobbied to save their ship as a memorial. With the assistance of Massachusetts school children, they raised enough money to bring Big Mamie to Fall River in June 1965. She was opened to the public 2 months later. Now the centerpiece of Fall River's revitalized waterfront and one of the 5 National Historic Landmark ships at Battleship Cove, Big Mamie, with her guns trained fore and aft in the posture of peace, stands ready to welcome visitors from around the nation and across the world as she has for more than a quarter century.
Well, that was a lot of great information, Davis. Thank you very much. Now, don't forget to go into the little side rooms, which are mini museums, such as the Pearl Harbor Room, as well as the D-Day Invasion Room, and so much more. Just take a load of this. During the Battle of Casablanca, they were hit by an 8-inch shell that went into the crew quarters. We all thought being in the 5-inch gun system was really cool, because each 5-inch gun system consisted of a twin gun mount and 2 handling rooms that were below deck. Now inside were the men, machinery, gunpowder, and projectiles required to fire the shot. And of course, down we go again into the awesome engine room. It was spectacular. If you haven't figured out already, this is a huge ship. We just kept walking and climbing, going down ladders until we got to the lowest part of the ship that you could see, and then we started climbing up. It was a fantastic adventure. Thank you for coming along with us on our tour of the USS Battleship Massachusetts. But I can tell you the video does not do it justice. If you have a chance to tour this beauty, I highly suggest you do. And also, we look forward to seeing you on our next adventures. And as always, have a great day.